What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel and welcome to my first ever series on YouTube where I'm talking about something I am super passionate about, and that is cosplay contests. I've spent the last 5 years or so making cosplay specifically for and participating in cosplay contests. There's just something magical about having your cosplays inspected and judged by cosplayers who are wiser, more skilled, and know so much more than you. Then getting up on stage in front of hundreds of strangers to show off the project that you've agonized for months over. The stress, the anxiety, the adrenaline, and fear of complete failure, bring it on. I mean, what could possibly be more fun than that? Seriously though, it's not that bad. Don't let my craziness scare you. Honestly, for me, it's one of the most worthwhile parts of cosplay, and it might be for you too. So let's get right into my beginner's guide to cosplay contests with some basic information. First of all, big disclaimer right here. The information in this series may not apply to you and your contest specifically. I'm speaking from the point of view of somebody who's participated in multiple conventions in the American Midwest. So things are likely to be different in other countries and may be different based on the size of the contest. Like the really big contests, they probably run things a little differently, but this is just general information that should apply to most scenarios. So I believe that anybody who's really passionate about cosplay and making cosplay should try a cosplay contest out at least once. The feeling of getting up on stage, embodying your character, and spending a lot of hours dedicating yourself to a project is something that I feel is just the cherry on top of convention life. However, there is a lot to consider when you go to enter a contest. For starters, entering can be different from con to con and contest to contest, so the number one most important tip that I can give you is to read your rules every single time you go to enter a contest. Contest rules are going to tell you everything that you need to know, like what kind of cosplays you can enter, if there are any restrictions on prop sizes or dress code or anything like that. So you need to be aware of what you're getting yourself into. Make sure that you don't make some cosplay that is totally outside of the rules and end up kind of screwing up your weekend for a convention. Just make sure that you're informed. That's the most important thing. Most established conventions are going to have online signups ahead of time for their cosplay contests. These often have deadlines and can be so popular that a waitlist forms. So as soon as you find out about a contest that you're interested in entering, you want to go online and do your research. Find out when you can start entering, and if you can, enter as soon as signups are available. Following cons you're interested in on social media is going to be really helpful in figuring this information out. When you sign up, you'll need to give them some information like what character you're cosplaying, what you would like said when you walk out on stage, and your cosplay name or whatever name you want read when you go on stage. You'll probably be able to put together a little introduction for your character. This might include a little reference or joke, or give some context of the background of your character to those who don't know the series that your character's from. So between the time of signing up for the contest and the actual contest date, if any of that information changes, like what you once said, or even your character that you're cosplaying, or maybe you've added more members or removed members from your group, you'll have to email the cosplay department and get those changes made. Smaller or more new conventions will often have their signups day of at the event, so that's another thing that you just kind of learn while you're researching the contest. If you're not already, I recommend joining the Facebook group for your cosplay contest that you're looking at competing at. This is a great way to make friends with other people who are getting into the cosplay contest, asking for advice, or getting help with various things you might need. When you sign up, you'll have to select your division and your category, which those words can be used interchangeably. So for categories, there is exhibition, performance, and craftsmanship. Exhibition is for those who may have bought or not made their cosplays. It's kind of just a walk-on category. You just walk on the stage, you pose, and you walk off. It's really good for just getting your feet wet in the contest scene, seeing how you feel up on stage, and or building confidence. Exhibition's a great way to get started. Just have a good, fun time and not have to worry about any intense judging. Depending on the contest, exhibition may not be offered, and or there may be limited spots for exhibition. Performance is for those who have planned out a full skit to perform on stage. It's often done with a group, but can also be done solo. The difference between performance and exhibition is that performance judges on the quality of the skit that you've written, created, your choreography, everything that you've done on stage, whereas exhibition is just for fun. Most cosplay contests allow you to enter in performance and craftsmanship judging simultaneously. And then there's craftsmanship, which is what most of this series is going to be focused on. Craftsmanship is for those who have made a certain percentage of their cosplay and want to be judged on how well they have made that cosplay. Depending on your contests, skill divisions are usually split into 3 levels. There's beginner/novice, intermediate/journeyman, and master/advanced. Deciding what division you should enter is something that you will figure out by reading the contest rules. That's most often determined by how many awards you've won previously, and or if cosplay is your career, if you take commissions, those kind of things. Obviously, if you've never entered a cosplay contest before and it's not your profession, then you are going to be entered into beginner most likely. Intermediate is usually the division where you'll find cosplayers who have won at least a few awards before and have a decent idea of what they're doing with a few different skills. If you're a beginner who's won a few times, don't be afraid to move up to intermediate. I've seen a lot of beginners hold off entering into intermediate because they feel like they're not ready or that they won't win, and that's definitely not a great mindset to have. You should be looking to take on big new challenges and pushing yourself to improve. That's one of the many great things about cosplay contests and competing, so you shouldn't shy away from it. The Master Division is a collection of contestants who can have a very wide range of skill sets, experience, and awards won. Although generally speaking, master level contestants have a wide variety of skill sets and are pretty good at doing a lot of things. Many contests have a rule that if you make any amount of money or a certain amount of money off of making cosplay, that you automatically should enter into master. That's incidentally how I ended up entering master for my first time. So I've gotten the question before, what cosplay should I enter in my first cosplay contest? Honestly, I think that for your first contest, it's important that you keep things light and positive. Go in having a fun time, get the experience, see how you feel about it, and just see what it's like to get into your first cosplay contest firsthand. When I entered my very first cosplay contest in 2015, I wore a cosplay that I had already worn to 3 conventions, and it was an absolute mess. Let your first cosplay contest experience be an opportunity for you to get a feel for the flow of a contest day. You should see if you even like it before you start pushing yourself super hard to be competitive and try to win contests. So just go in wearing your favorite cosplay, make some friends, and have a good time. Now I want to include some questions, advice, and tips from my Instagram followers. I asked everyone over there what beginner questions they had, or if there was anything that they wish they had known before they started competing in cosplay contests. So Yupcat said, I wish I knew how much of the con day I'd lose and how much of it is spent standing. Yeah, that's a thing. So an average contest day is going to take up pretty much the entirety of your Saturday of the con, and there is a lot of standing involved. For myself, on contest day, I usually wake up around 7 a.m. and I start getting into cosplay then. I give myself a long time to get into cosplay. I try to get my judging spot as late in the afternoon as possible, which usually ends up being around 2 p.m. I give myself a lot of time because I get super anxious on the day of a contest and I hate to feel rushed. I will freak out otherwise if I don't give myself plenty of breaks. If my contest judging time is at 2 p.m., I will head down about an hour early and kind of walk around, get some fresh air, get a little more comfortable in the costume because sometimes it's the first time I've put that costume on. And then I will stand and wait for my pre-judging slot at least 20 minutes beforehand. The actual stage time for the contest is usually in the early evening or late afternoon, around 4, 5, or 6. And so during that time, I literally just sit in the green room. Most of that is because I don't want to take any risks of anything on my cosplay getting damaged. Although I will say if something does happen to break on your cosplay, it's much better for that to happen after prejudging and before the contest on stage. Just try to make it through prejudging without anything breaking. So finally, the contest ends around 7, 8, or 9, and then you're able to enjoy your convention day. You can easily spend over 12 hours in cosplay on a contest day, so you should prepare for that. Next, my friend Hamster Daydream says, have someone bring you food or pack snacks. Now this definitely goes hand in hand with what Yupcat said. Having food in the green room is really helpful. Don't try to go your whole contest day without eating. even if it's difficult or like scary because you're afraid you're gonna spill something on yourself, you still need to eat because otherwise you will get real sick and it's not cool. I'll be making more information on green rooms and getting through a contest day, all that little stuff in the future, so make sure you subscribe and have the notification bell on so you don't miss that video. I also want to include in here that you should put together a cosplay repair kit of things like super glue, duct tape, scissors, a little bit of black acrylic paint to cover up any battle damage that may occur during the convention. There's all kinds of lists and resources out there on what to put together in a cosplay repair kit, so I will link a couple of those things down below in the description. Teddy Graham Cause asked how much of the costume has to be handmade to be eligible. That depends entirely on the contest that you're going to be entering, and you will find that information by reading the rules. But I will say it's most common that beginners are expected to make like 40-50% of their cosplay, and then that percentage goes up as you go up in skill division. As long as you focus on making as much of the cosplay as you can from scratch, you will be good to go. Sam the Man Cosplay says bring photos and line the inside of your foam. So I want to go over craftsmanship related things like lining the inside of your foam later on in a video about improving your craftsmanship. So when Sam says bring photos, that's going to be referring to your reference images and showbook. Showbooks serve a few different purposes. One is that it has all your reference images so that your judges can have a baseline to judge you on your accuracy of your cosplay. Two, they show proof that you made the cosplay and documents your work in progress. And three, they can display parts of your cosplay that the judges cannot easily see, like interior structures of how you built a prop, or that the whole inside of all your garments is lined. Later in this series, I'm going to be going over showbooks, how to put one together easily, and a little bit of the do's and don'ts as far as that goes. So that's another reason to stick around. But for beginners, if you just have a couple of printed out images for your judges and a few pictures of your work in progress, you should be good. Kyra's Cosplay says, how to plan a stage walk and to freaking practice it beforehand. Even if you're just focused on craftsmanship, your stage walk on is still important. I've always kind of pushed this to the back burner and focused way more on craftsmanship, but I always make sure to have at least 3 different poses planned out ahead of time, and then to pick those poses at least like the Friday before the con, and practice them in cosplay. Usually for stage walk on, you walk onto the stage, you pose 1, 2, 3, and you walk off the stage. And definitely don't try to do anything crazy, like when you get up on stage, don't change your plan at the last minute, because personally, I have done that before and it didn't go well. I did that once. Only once. It wasn't good. The end of my prop popped off and rolled down the stage. Nothing was permanently broken and no one got hurt except for my ego, but it could have been way, way worse. Next, Annalyn Cosplay says rehearse what you're gonna say to craftsmanship judges. On average, you have 1 minute to give them details. This is very true. The prejudging experience is something that I am going to go way in depth on in the future because it is a whole can of worms in itself, and this video is already going to be really long. But this is fantastic advice. I've taught myself how to word vomit during prejudging because the whole time I'm just running on adrenaline. I have bullet points in my head on the things that I want to talk about, and I just rehearse that like 4, 5, 6 times. Really close to the convention to make sure that I remember all the most important details that I want to give my judges. Okay, so I got 2 responses that are fairly well related. Food Penguin says, doing the best you can with your skills and materials you can afford. And Demi Frost says, is there a way to do cosplay on a low budget, or is this something you have to save for? So when it comes to making personal cosplays just for fun, you can definitely do everything on a tight budget. I made my pizza delivery Sever cosplay on a budget, and I have videos on how I did that if you're interested. And there are tons of amazing videos on YouTube about creating cosplay on a budget. So I'll link a few of those down below in the description. Even for contests, you don't have to spend a ton of money to create award-winning cosplays, especially while you're in beginner and intermediate. Finding creative solutions to create your cosplay without spending a fortune is actually something that can award you bonus points with your judges, and you should definitely share that information with them. Cosmaking is a creative art after all, and so creative problem solving and thinking outside the box should be rewarded, in my opinion. The last thing that I wanted to include today in this video is why I compete. The number one reason that I compete in cosplay contests is because they drive my improvement more than anything else does. Before I started competing, the quality of the cosplays I was making kind of started stagnating. I was still improving, but I wasn't always pushing myself to learn something new. I thought, hey, I can kind of sew, I can sculpt with oven-baked clay, and I can paint. I should have all the tools I need to make amazing fancy cosplays. And I quickly realized how little I actually knew. Contests were what really opened my eyes to the vast array of skills, techniques, materials, and concepts that go into creating costumes. I'm constantly relearning how little I actually know in comparison to all the different things you can learn when becoming a master cosplay crafter. The second reason is because I would really like to become a bigger part of the cosplay community as a whole by regularly being invited to be a guest and cosplay contest judge at conventions around the region. I've guested twice so far, with my third opportunity coming up in a few months, and doing well in cosplay contests has definitely helped me get those opportunities. Third, I also just really enjoy the thrill of competing, making friends who also have that same passion for competitions, and being able to show people the stuff that I make. There's plenty that I didn't have time to get into today regarding cosplay contests, but hopefully this is a good start for information for beginners out there. Leave a comment down below. Let me and others know if there's something that you wish you'd known before you started competing in cosplay contests. And feel free to ask questions. I love communicating with you guys in the comments, and let me know what you thought about this video. This is just the beginning of this series, so if there was something that you want me to go more in depth on, let me know about that. There'll be many more videos coming on this topic of cosplay contests. I know for sure that I'll be going over show books, green room, handlers, using models, judges and pre-judging, cosplay contest etiquette, and I'll even have some tips on how you can improve your odds of winning in cosplay contests and improve your craftsmanship. Thank you so much for watching. I love having you here. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button down below. And maybe you know somebody who's thinking about getting into contests but isn't sure yet, you should totally share this video with them. And remember to subscribe for more cosplay content in the future.